Alright, so let's get started with the NetBeans. Let me open that. Okay, so we're gonna go week 11, I guess, new projects. So we're gonna go week 11 with the main and wait for the project to be created. Today my last laptop is pretty fast, so I'm happy. Alright, so let's start with a little bit of warm up of a method, basic method. So we're gonna work and try some to catch some. So basically, if you recall, there is a defensive programming, which is you catching the errors as it happens, and you decide what to do with it. Sometimes you don't want to do anything with it. All right. Sometimes you want to do something with it. So it's always there's different cases. There is two ways of catching errors. So there are two ways of catching errors in Java. So one of them we tried before, right? So what you do is you basically try something and then you catch it. So you try. Let me just. I think we did that. You try it, and whatever happens or whatever error you might have, you catch it. And in the catch, you mention the exception name or whatever it is. Or sometimes you don't know, just catch it and show the message to the user. So the basic catch and error is like this, right? So you go try that, let's just use our shortcut, and catch. You see, this is the exception E. Means if you don't know what it is, it generates the object out of that exception, and you can find what it is. So you try something here, and you catch it as it goes. So let's actually write, because I want to use my main, I'm just going to write to basic method. So I'm going to go public static outside of my main, let's say double division or divide or whatever you want. I think I'm out of the class 2 right now. Yeah. Yeah, of course it does. Okay, so let's start over again. Public stat. Oh yeah. It's a method, yes. Integer. Let's go double, divide, and the parentheses, and so we're gonna get two inputs. Let's say we get two integer a and b. Still need more coffee in my system. And what this method does is basically you divide a by b, right? So what we covered before is what if the user insert 0 for the b, right? So we did this before, I guess. I don't know here in Python, I'm not sure, but let's say we have a result and we set that to 0, and I want to try the result equals to a divided by b, right? So we try that. The common error here might happen is when the user input b equals to 0, right? So that's the mathematical error. And you see, by default, we catching an exception, we call it e. And let's say we don't know what it is. We can basically go here and go e dot message. What was the message? I forgot what it. Yeah. Not sure. What was the Get message? No.
Yes, get message.
Yeah, get message. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, right there. So this just tells me what it is if I don't know what it is. Right? So let's try it out. Let's go here and simply, and wait, we need the return. So if that's not, there's no error, we're just gonna return the result, right? So we're gonna return that. And here I'm just gonna go print divide here 2 divided by 3. And let's run this. Is 0. That's not right. Okay, so return has to go there.
You need a return inside the package too.
Yeah. So we have to cover both scenarios. I actually can't return a message. But nah, that's too much complicated. Just leave it there. The point is not returning anything. The point is catching an error. And you can see by default it tells you this is divided by 0. So it gives me the message what it is if I don't know what it is. If I do know what it is, I can simply, if I want to do something about it. So the question is what you want to do about it. You can simply go and change that to arithmetic. So let's say I don't know what that is. If you and here what I want to show a message that says an error happened or whatever you want to do. So you can catch an error specifically and do something about it, or if you don't know, you can just catch the error and see what it is. But here we go. So that's it.
So you should go with exception, just arithmetic exception and the name. Yeah, get rid of it. And then you go, yeah.
What?
Yes. Add the E.
Alright. Both of them works. You're generating the E out of the arithmetic now.
Oh, the E is just the reference. It's the same as exception,
Yeah.
but you don't have an exception or you have arithmetic exception.
Okay.
It's an irrelevancy. I don't know how to say this word.
What's the word?
Inheritance.
Oh, inheritance.
Inheritance.
Alright, yeah. Okay, okay.
You got it.
Got it. Anyway, so you can handling that error right there, and that's one way to do it. The idea is you're handling it. You don't see any errors here. However, let's write the same error, and we're gonna talk about. There's another way of doing this, which is you throwing in a exception. So or your error, just handle your error as we go. Let's just go and write this differently and low. So we're gonna do same thing, but public static. Integer. Let's call this divide 2, and let's say we get A and B. So it's the same thing, but we're gonna deal with this differently. So we're gonna do this that way. I say, okay, if B equals to 0, then throw new arithmetic exception. And do this. Show this message also. You can't divide by 0. That's one way of doing it. And else, if that's the case, do that. And else, just return A divided by B. So what's the difference here? So let's run it and see. So here I'm just doing that, and I'm gonna do the same thing here, but I'm gonna go divide 2, right? So that's my same. So this is the exception, and this is throwing an exception. So I have your message, I have my typo, I know this is my message, always have typo. So here it is. But also it shows the error. So to conclude this, there is 2 ways of doing this. Let me just make some comments here. Let me make that proper comment. So there is catch and error, try and catch, and throw exceptions. So what's the difference? Oh, there's a huge difference. The catch and error, or try to catch, swallow the exception, or handle, whatever you want to. Or basically is showing it. Oh, sorry, this is not catch and error. This is handle the exception. So how to make it proper. The other one, the throw does not handle. And also I know how to explain this properly. Alright, so the throw basically is, let's use your word, dispatching. And error. What that even means. So I'm gonna make an example of this. It basically is really useful when you dealing with methods. So you continue or return continue your program. Make some example. What's the benefit of this? I don't see any benefits so far. So it basically, the throw delivered the error, but still you have the error. You don't handle it. It's really great when you're dealing with methods, basically, according to the literature. Let's see. Let's make a class and use it there. Let's make a class called die. Let's see what I have there. And this class, basically what it does, it generates dies, not killing anyone. It's basically I forgot you guys. Now the word dice when you use is a plural of die. So there's two dice. Means dice, like when you play dice.
Oh, dice. Okay.
Now dice is plural. It's not singular. Die is yeah. So die is the yeah. It's not killing anyone. I'm not. There's not. This class doesn't kill anyone. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So this is a die. Or maybe
Oh.
oh, okay.
Also a good idea, right?
Die. Okay, fine. Fine. This is here we go. Die. Oh, it's dice.
Yeah.
Why I said die? All right.
That's just a misspelling. It's more.
It's made past that. I'm having a bad week. Yeah, it's a die. No, there's a singular for the dice. It is. Dice is plural.
Try dice.
There is no such a thing.
Yeah, so.
No, die is plural. Diction. I'm pretty sure. Dictionary. That's all right. All right. So let's make that dice. We're not killing anyone today. So the dice. Let's say there is an integer to that. Couple of parameters. It is die, man. I'm pretty sure it is die. Unless I taught this like last semester fully wrong. But nobody corrected me. Alright, to solve this problem, die and dice both are valid in this case. Let's make a dice that make this guy happy. He's happy now. It's like a mice and mouse. This comes from that family, I guess. Alright, so let's try, say, in this class, we have a minimum side. So what's the smallest die you can get, or dice you can get? Smallest size. Does anyone know? Yeah, smallest dice you can have.
6.
4. Yeah, go figure. So the smallest size dice is basically a rectangle. Oh yeah, triangle. Yeah, it's a rectangle. Alright. So we don't want the user to create any object more than 4. So we're gonna just throw an exception for that. If just say this happens and let them know. They can't really do that. We're assuming this is common sense, but you never know. Alright. So let's make a constructor because I'm lazy. Just gonna go insert code, constructor for those. Oh, we don't set the value, right? So the value it's a die. So that when you create the object, we're just rolling a die, and we're gonna use a random library to do that. Okay. So we get this. We just get the side. It says, okay, give me the side to begin with, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna say if, not there, if the number num sides or sides is less than minimum side, do what? So we're gonna just throw a new exception called illegal arithmetic, right? Arithmetic or argument exceptions. So this is another one, and in there we're just gonna show the die must have at least what? Let's go minimum side, minimum. So we're just throwing exception here. Otherwise, we're just gonna set the dice. So this is we just gonna return back. So we're not creating any objects at all. So if the user gives us and wrong input, we're just gonna create an error.
Okay, just a question. It's gonna continue.
So it doesn't continue the code. I'm just gonna run it and see what it is, but
Yeah.
it's just gonna give you the error with that message. It stops and it doesn't continue. With the catch and error, it does continue. So it just goes and goes. That's the difference. Depends on the application. You can use either or. Throwing is just in case kind of errors, I would say. So the errors that you might not get, you assuming the user put 4 at least, is not a. But you can also construct a object with 2 or 1, doesn't matter. But you want more than 4 because that's a realistic situation. But it doesn't really, yeah, it's just, that's the whole point. It doesn't continue, it just stops. But you also generate the error message. It says, hey, that's a problem, man. Handle it, right? So otherwise, we're going to continue, not to continue. If that's not a problem, we're just going to set the side and roll the dice. So we're just going to write the, let's just do the lazy work here. Create the roll here. You see, now you get it. Anytime you inserting a method, especially when you're using the function insert code, it throw a new exception anyway, right? Just in case, if you ask to do something that it can't really handle, you see, it throw a new unsupported operation exception.
That means limited, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's leave it since we're doing that. We did the quiz already. Alright, so in that case, I'm gonna. So the throw exception like this is good for the method, right? And I'm gonna use my class random. I think I have to import that. So I'm gonna right click here, import the random. Oh.
You need to remove the throw.
Yeah. All right, and let's have a value. Set the value now. We're gonna go rand dot next integer size. If you recall, this method generates a random number between 0 to whatever side you have, but side is not included. So we're gonna plus the whole thing up because like there is no 0 also. So there we go. Plus 1, and that's about it. We need to have a getters.
Just for 1. Like what?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Because it's between 0 and 1, right?
No. Okay, so the rand in, let's say the side is 6, you go 0.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, but you also can add the parameters up by 1. I'm not usually mess with parameters. That's my preferences. I don't mess with the parameters or anything that it kind of has value. But we're gonna just have not here, just our class. How do we get the value? we generate the random number. Is in the class is private, so we're just gonna insert code. Let's go. We just want to have getters for size and value. There we go. Just in case. Right? So now let's go create the object here. Let's go dice. New. No, let's go die. Can name an object die at least if you're not happy. Let me have this. Alright. So let's say 6 and we're just gonna print the die dot get value and we can see what we wrote. Oh, that's the first error, right? So you see the problem is here. We don't continue, we stop. So we're gonna fix that one at least. And if we continue, this one we'll do, that one we don't. So here we go. So why have two values? Okay, so that's a division. That's okay. So you rolled there we go. So this time we have 5, 2, 1, so on and so on. But let's have 3, and again, here we go. So you have a illegal argument exception. The die must have at least 4 sides. That's my message again because there's the typos. Let's go fix that message. Alright. So one more exception and then we wrap up this one. Let's go to week 11. And let's one of the most common use of handling exceptions is when you're dealing with files. So there's always problem with the file. It's the external access, and there should be sometimes the file is not there, it's not opening, all that. I'm not gonna do all of it. I'm just gonna do a concept. It's called multiple catch also in this, and then we wrap up chapter 11. The rest is just gonna read it. Honestly, it's nothing to it. So let's try this. So let's say we have an integer. Let's call it number. No, let's try. So we're gonna do try and catch. So let's go try and catch. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try a file, new file. Let's call it number.txt. So this is what we learned before. We're just gonna import the Java input-output file. If you recall, those are the libraries for dealing with the files. You guys did dealt with file before in your assignment, so should be familiar with it. And then we need a scanner, obviously, and let's call it input file. And I'm gonna go new scanner. For scanner, also I need to import it. I don't have it. There we go. And we don't know what's in it, so we're gonna say while the input file, a typo here, file extra L, file has next. So this is what generate Boolean, right? So it tells me goes line by line and see what has in it or not. What we're gonna do is what? So let's say we're gonna go and we're gonna go to the input file. Dot next line or next integer. Let's say this file has numbers in it, and we're gonna go line by line and get it. And when we get that, simply we're just gonna print it out in the console. So we're gonna print the number. Simple. I think I have to declare that, right? Let's try declaring this here. So we're gonna go integer number. Boom. All right. So we don't know what kind of error might happen, right? We opening the file, we're reading numbers from it. We're assuming everything's fine, but let's just print what's gonna happen here. It's gonna go we get the message. See, now the coffee is in my system. Get in there. And all right, still the dice problem, right? So let's go fix the dice. Here we go. So we have it. We have an error already. You're catching it. What is it? The system cannot find the file specified because there's no file. Where is that file? Right? So we are going to so what's the error? What's the exception for this? We can do that. Oh. The exception for that is file not found exception. So we can catch that. And here we're just gonna go of course it is a spelling error. What else is new? Oh yeah, it's a typo mostly. I don't look at the keywords when I do it. It's not one of my challenges. Still not?
Using the reference. And
oh yeah. Yeah, alright, let's see. Add importing. Oh, we need to import that, right? Boom. Alright, so let's say error processing the file. And let's go create that file. So let's go to, I think it's in documents, my NetBean projects. NetBean area, NetBean projects, week 11, and let's create the file here. Text file. Let's call it number. And let's put 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6. Save. Let's see, it actually works or not. There we go. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everything's good. But let's say you have 2, 3, 4, and here somebody typed 4. Right? Let's do that. And we have an error, which is input mismatch exception. So that's another error. You're expecting a number, you're getting a string. So how do I handle that? I can add it to this. So it's called a multi-exception handling. So we can go that and put it there. Guess what? You're gonna import it too. So in that case, we just show the message error processing. So you can actually have multiple errors handled in the same manner.
You need a different message.
Yeah, then no. No, this is the idea. We don't want to specify the user what it is. Many times that's what you get there. It says, oh, you have a problem processing this request. It doesn't tell you why. There's multiple errors. Yeah, if you need a different message, that's the case. But let's say there's a multiple thing. You just want to say error processing the file. Well, best case scenario, they give you a code, right? Any error you have is 404 or 205. Here we go. So now we have the same problem. Okay, so this is the concept of catching errors. I don't have anything to add to it. There's many, but most of the time you're gonna search it, apply it, and go on and on. So there's many of them, but basically you dealing with exception when you have files or some sort of arithmetics problems. Okay. Okay, let's start a break, then I'll start the GUI. Alright, let's have an early break. Ish. Right? Yeah, okay, so let's come back 10:30. And I teach a little bit of GUI, then we go do the quiz and all that.